If you're a fan of AEW Dark, you may well have seen a couple of matches featuring Ben Carter, who's faced both Lee Johnson and Ricky Starks on the YouTube show. Carter immediately impressed fans, and it quickly became clear that he was likely wanted by both AEW and WWE. The only question was, where would he go? Well, it appears that WWE has won the race for his signature, as former WWE star Miro made a very interesting and illuminating comment on his latest Twitch stream. We lost Ben Carter. Ben Carter is lost. He's gone to the dark side. We can't. I mean, good luck to Ben Carter. All the best to him. I was really impressed with his stuff. So unless he's joining the Dark Order, you can safely assume that the dark side he's referring to is the Sith. I mean, WWE. Carter has presumably signed a developmental contract with NXT, which is the standard procedure for the promotion, unless you're someone like AJ Styles, who walked straight onto the main roster because, well, he's AJ Styles. Oh, how we rejoiced when it seemed as though WWE had finally split up Seth Rollins and the Mysterio family in the draft, and then oh, how we groaned when the Mysterios were also drafted to SmackDown. It's a feud that has gone on for months, and it seems it'll be going on for many more, but at least we know now why. According to the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, WWE was very keen on having its three biggest storylines on SmackDown, which is why Roman Reigns, Bayley, and Sasha Banks, and now Rollins and the Mysterios are now on the blue brand. Reigns is the hottest thing in WWE right now. The Bayley and Sasha Banks feud has been a very consistent draw, and Rollins and Mysterio has had a plethora of cool moments, even if it has been going on for far too long. Rey Mysterio lost an eye, guys. SmackDown has been WWE's most viewed show since its move to Fox, so it's hardly surprising WWE wants its best storylines viewed by the most people. We are now just a few weeks away from the US presidential elections, and while we will certainly not tell you how to vote, please do go and vote, because it is very important. One accolade that current President Donald Trump holds over his opponent Joe Biden, or to give him his wrestling name, Bidenreich, is that he's a WWE Hall of Famer, having appeared as part of the Battle of the Billionaires storyline heading into WrestleMania 23. It's no secret that WWE President Vince McMahon is very close with United States President Donald Trump, and it seems Vince may be tempted to bring the current president back to WWE very soon. Author Lavi Margolin, who's recently written a book called Trump Mania, Vince McMahon, WWE, and the Making of America's 45th President, believes Trump will use the result of the election to make a return to the ring. Speaking to Wrestling Inc., he said, "If he is elected, I think everything is out the window. He'll do more of what he wants, and then if he's not re-elected and doesn't continue on, which aren't necessarily connected elements, he'll want to be back in the public eye. And WWE is one of the first places that will embrace him. And there's, from what I've read or heard, $450 million of debt to pay down. So whatever you can do, that's certainly a good way to make a couple million. Battle of the Billionaires 2. But now it's time for a review of last night's season premiere of SmackDown in about 5 minutes. Thank you for being an awesome pledgehammer on Patreon, the British Bulldog Philip Boy J. Smith Jr. On a show with no authority figures, the season premiere of SmackDown kicked off with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, because of course it did. Most of the new SmackDown roster was standing on the stage, plus Raw's Braun Strowman, plus Raw's Sheamus, plus Raw's Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, and without SmackDown's Roman Reigns. Okay, so some of the roster were on the stage, where Hunter and Steph put over their new brand of stars, including the returning Daniel Bryan. Sure, I'm glad that wasn't used for a special return or something. For some reason, once the new SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits, were introduced, Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode felt the need to beat them up a bit, and then everyone else started brawling for reasons unknown. This led to Lars Sullivan coming out and beating up Apollo Crews and Shorty G, former United States champion. Apollo Crews looking for a fresh start on a new brand. How's that treating you, buddy? Jeff Hardy came out and temporarily quashed The Freak, which led into a match. The Freak Lars Sullivan then took it to Hardy, hitting him with freakish strength and a freakish athletic ability, nailing a freak accident after getting up immediately from a freaking twist of fate for the win. If me saying the word freak is getting on your nerves, this is actually less frequently than Michael Cole and Corey Graves were doing it. According to Sean Ross Sapp, in a 7-minute and 30-second segment, Lars was referred to as The Freak 22 times. 16 of those were from Michael Cole. Hashtag Sean Ross stats. As Lance Storm put it, big fan of the subtlety here. Backstage, Otis is about to be interviewed by Kayla Braxton before Sami Zayn interrupts and says that Otis lost both Tucker and Mandy Rose to Raw in the draft, so Otis just pushes him over, and Sami sells it like it's the most disrespectful thing in the world. world, I love Sami. And then came the best thing on the show, as the New Day had their farewell match on SmackDown against Shinsuke Nakamura, Cesaro, and Sheamus. Now look, we can poke holes in WWE's logic and how Raw should have, in theory, picked up Big E as well, and talk about how they're not following the brand split 1 week after the draft, but really, none of that matters, because this is what it was all about. The New Day cut an emotional promo before the match, going over their highlights as a team, from their brutal Hell in a Cell match with the Usos, Kofi Kingston's WWE Championship win, and how they first came together, with all three of them getting emotional, reminiscing. What followed was a great match, where everybody got a chance to shine. Several highlights from New Day's offense in their 6 years was replayed. The Bar had a mini reunion, with Sheamus saying the New Day wouldn't have been anything without he and Cesaro. And for one last time, Xavier Woods and Big E teamed up to hit the midnight hour and pick up the win. Immediately after the pin, Big E gets to his feet and hugs both of them in a tight embrace, and the three of them spend a little time just hugging in the ring. A 6-year run comes to an end, and as much as we complained about the split not making sense, and I know I was the one of the loudest people voicing that criticism, I'll be forever grateful they split them peacefully and without one of them turning heel. This genuinely made me teary-eyed while I was watching. What an incredible segment. And speaking of things that feel like they've been going on for 6 years, Seth Rollins had to continue his feud with the Mysterios. What came next was Daniel Bryan's return, cutting a promo about people he's looking forward to getting in the ring with, before Seth Rollins' music hits and says Bryan forgot to mention one man, him. Ooh, Seth is finally moving on from the Mysterio feud, and he's entering a feud with Daniel Bryan? I can get on board with this. Ah, just kidding. The Mysterios came out afterwards and had a standoff against Rollins. Rollins was looking for an ally in Bryan, who bounced. Then Murphy ran out, teased he was going to side with Rollins, before turning on him once again, nailing him with a knee strike, and offering a handshake to the Mysterios, who turned him down and walked away. The drama! If this feud has to carry on, at least this was a good segment to carry it on. I just wish that Bryan's return was a little more impactful than just a placeholder. After that came a quick 2-minute match between the Street Profits and Ziggler and Rude, where the ref called for the DQ because they were beating each other up too much. Ford stood tall after a big crossbody, which means I guess we found the team that Street Profits will be feuding with for the next year. Next up was a contract signing between Bayley and Sasha Banks for Hell in a Cell, hosted by not the GM, Adam Pearce. Just call him the GM already, will you? Banks reminded everyone of her and Bayley's history together, how they've been there for each other for all their significant title wins, and how Bayley is nothing without her. In an interesting turn, Bayley then refused to sign the contract, and no one got put through the table. Banks said she's going to get Bayley to sign it one way or another. After a quick cameo from both Jeff and Chang from Community, I hope he's recovered from his Changnesia, we got the main event of Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman for the Universal title. First things first, let's get this out of the way. This match makes no sense. There is no argument for why Braun Strowman should be getting a Universal Championship shot, especially when Roman already has one lined up for Hell in a Cell. However, looking past that, this was awesome. The match itself was pretty good, with both getting their own chance to shine, Strowman kicking out of a spear, Reigns kicking out of a chokeslam by punching Strowman in the dick again, classic Reigns maneuver. The ending was very intriguing as well, as Reigns managed to make Strowman submit with a guillotine, something completely different from what we normally see from Reigns. And then came the post-match angle, which was even better. Reigns began to lay into Strowman with a chair, while Jey Uso had come out to watch on. Reigns offered up the chair to Jey, all the while mouthing off to him, saying that it doesn't make sense he's trying to take his place at the table. He still loves him, he just wants him to understand. Reigns turned his back, waiting for Jey to take the shot with the chair that never came, as he threw it to the ground instead. But as Reigns turned around, Jey snapped, hitting him with a punch, a super kick, and laying in a chair on Reigns' back before being pulled apart by officials. Reigns then hit a Superman punch on him to stand tall to end the segment. I am so excited for Hell in a Cell, and Roman continues to be the best thing in WWE. Jey sold this brilliantly as well. So that was the show. Let me know what you thought in the comments. You know, there are several things I could complain about on this show. The Street Profits tag match, Daniel Bryan's lackluster return, Lars Sullivan, but I'm not going to. Reigns continues to be incredible, but even without that, the New Day's farewell brought legitimate emotion out of me, and that overrides all other criticism I could level at this show. It was genuinely heartwarming, tear-jerking, and amazing. This episode of SmackDown get a very teary 5 out of 5 Smacknificent. You know those awesome series we do over on Parts Fun Known, such as Quizzlemania, How Adam Would Book, Actually Good, Calling Spots, No Rolls Barred, and more? Well, now you can get even more of it with the launch of our brand new Parts Fun Known Patreon page. More control of the series we upload on PFK, a fan play-along Quizzlemania hosted by Adam, signed Quizzlemania trophies, and loads more can be found over there. So press the video on the right now to find out all the details with Laurie Blake, and press the video below that to find out whether WWE sent a spy to AEW. Subscribe here for daily wrestling news videos as well, support each other, and always remember guys, jam that jam.